Yo, what's good, YouTube? Back with another reaction video. Today we got why the Philadelphia Eagles will repeat as Super Bowl champs. Personally, I don't need much convincing, but we're gonna watch the video anyway and see what kind of points he brings up. And yeah, go Birds, man. Let's get into it.
They didn't just win the Super Bowl, they annihilated a dynasty.
Yeah, 50 ball.
I warned you, didn't I? I said, beware these dogs.
On February 9, 2025, the Philadelphia Eagles marched into the biggest game of the footballing calendar.
He came up big.
And humiliated Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The final score said 40-22, but don't let that fool you. This wasn't a game, it was a demolition. And now
I definitely thought Maddox was washed. He had got hurt, then he tried to come back, got burnt a few plays. I was like, get him out of there. But he showed up that second half of the season. I'm proud of him.
Birds are back, and they look even better.
Philadelphia Eagles have won their 10th game in a row.
They're not just chasing a repeat.
I'm sorry. That man CJ, look like he about to be out for a while this season. Sorry it had to sour and end like it did, CJ, but you was a dog. You was consistent for us the whole season, brother. Like, you ain't never gonna hear me saying too much bad things about that man CJ Gardner Johnson. Yeah, he was him, Zach Bond, and Quinyon, Nakobe Dean. Slay was even up and down the whole season, but number 4 or 5 I named, JC, of course, consistent throughout the whole season.
They're not just chasing a repeat, they're building a legacy, one that the rest of the NFC should be absolutely terrified of.
Philadelphia to the championship game.
Now, just 12 months ago, there were some pretty serious questions in Philadelphia. As we all remember, the team had crashed out of the playoffs in the first round in Tampa Bay after a terrible end to the 2023 regular season where they lost 5 of their last 6 games. Nick Sirianni was unquestionably on the hot seat, and there were real questions being asked about Jalen Hurts as both a passer and a leader. As a result, the 2024 offseason was make or break for the Eagles in so many ways, with GM Howie Roseman tasked with stopping the slide and turning this team into real contenders once more. And well, it's fair to say that he nailed that task, as we all saw. Starting with the defense, Philly had ranked 3rd last in the entire NFL in scoring defense in 2023, having given up 30-plus points in 5 of their last 8 games. Unsurprisingly, the defensive coordinator Sean Desai was fired as a result, and the team turned to veteran Vic Fangio to fix this.
I gotta add Mr. Sweat to that list. But I said Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond, Josh Sweat, CJ Gardner Johnson, JC, Quinyon. I can't add Nolan because he came on late. I can't add Slay. He was up and down. Coop was also up and down, in and out the lineup. But those, 6, 7 I just named, consistent throughout the whole year.
Flagging unit. Despite a disappointing spell as Broncos head coach, there's no doubt that Fangio is amongst the best in the business as a DC, having held the position for 7 different NFL franchises dating back to 1995. Fangio was a former assistant coach of the year in 2018 while at the Chicago Bears, but as good of a coach as he is, he would need some new personnel to turn this unit around. On day 1 of free agency, the Eagles decided to add Saints linebacker Zach Bond on a 1-year, $4 million deal.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready?
Okay, he needed to get
$118 for car.
he need to get into this year. I know you building it up, but like I know all this already.
And now this wasn't necessarily the most eye-catching or flashiest signing of free agency, but within weeks, it was clear that the Eagles and Fangio had their hands on one of the league's best linebackers. After 4 unspectacular years in New Orleans, Bond had the ultimate breakout season in his 5th year as a pro and would lead the team in tackles with 151, including 11 for loss. This led to him being named first-team All-Pro alongside Fred Warner and Roquan Smith. Alongside Bond, though, at linebacker was Nakobe Dean, who had a breakout year of his own, recording 80 tackles with the 2 men forming a heartbeat of the defense. Unfortunately, though, the 24-year-old did suffer a torn patella tendon in the wild card round of the playoffs, putting his status in jeopardy for the 2025 season. It was the secondary, though, that saw the biggest change on defense ahead of the 2024 campaign. You see, after a brutal 2023, the team opted to draft 2 cornerbacks with their first 2 selections, Quinyon Mitchell with pick 22 and Cooper DeJean with pick 40. Very quickly, Howie Roseman's faith in these 2 young men paid off as they both ranked amongst the top 10 corners in the league according to PFF, and both made the all-rookie team at season's end.
My fault.
They also
I slept on Reed. He was consistent throughout the whole year, too.
Added CJ Gardner-Johnson, who returned to the city of brotherly love after spending the 2023 season in Detroit. And yes, while Gardner-Johnson is better known for his trash talk and off-field antics, he was vital on the field in 2024 with 6 interceptions and 12 passes defended, contributing to a major turnaround on defense. Like in the span of 12 months, that Eagles defense, which had ranked 3rd last in scoring, had been transformed into the league's 2nd best, only conceding 2 more points than the LA Chargers. Like through the addition of Fangio, Bond, DeJean, Mitchell, Gardner-Johnson, and several others, it was clear that this Eagles defense had become a completely different animal. And well, on offense, yeah, we know what they did. They added Saquon Barkley. As we all know, Saquon Barkley's 2024 season was one of the best we've ever seen from a running back, breaking the 2,000-yard barrier with a game to spare, averaging a ridiculous 125.3 yards per game in the process. It really is possible, too, that the New York Giants will never live down their infamous decision to let Barkley walk, as he spent the entirety of last season gliding through defenses for their hated rivals and deservedly earning Offensive Player of the Year as a result. And what's crazy, too, is that in a league where paying running backs seems to be going out of fashion, there was no doubt that the Eagles would break the bank to keep one of the very few game-changing backs in the league. As we all know, in March of this year, Barkley agreed to a 2-year extension worth $41.2 million, making him the highest paid running back in league history, which absolutely no one could begrudge him. Elsewhere on offense too, the big moves in the 2024 offseason were in extending the superstar receiving duo of Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, who combined for 1,912 yards and 15 touchdowns last year, despite missing 4 games each with injury. The team then also extended the contracts of offensive lineman Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, who are both tied down in Philly through the 2028 season. As we all know, the Eagles' offensive line is arguably the best in the league and is such an important part of how this offense functions, giving Barkley space to run and Jalen Hurts time to throw. Beyond Mailata and Dickerson, the team also has Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson on the books, keeping this rock-solid unit together for several more years to come. And that's the thing too, during the 2024 season, this team kind of just went from strength to strength. After a rocky 2-2 start and a narrow 20-16 win over one of the league's worst teams in the Cleveland Browns, few were tipping the Eagles to go all the way to glory in 4 months' time. Nevertheless, though, the team rattled off 12 wins in their last 13 regular season games, with that sole loss coming in a 36-33 defeat to Washington in Week 16. It also is important to note that Jalen Hurts was injured in that game and replaced by Kenny Pickett, and it's truly easy to imagine that if Hurts had played that full
Hey, look, but anybody can step in and do what Jalen do, though, right? Anybody. So why didn't it happen? Y'all kill me. Y'all kill me. But that's a whole different video topic for real. We just reacted to Jalen getting 19 on the top 100 list. I could argue he higher, but I'm not mad at 19. So, but let's get back into it.
That game and replaced by Kenny Pickett, and it's truly easy to imagine that if Hurts had played that full game, that 3 6-point loss might have been different. As we all know though, in the NFC Championship game, the Eagles got their revenge on the Commanders, absolutely hammering them 55-23. And then of course, 2 weeks later, it was the same story in the Super Bowl, with the Chiefs having been annihilated, falling to a 34-0 deficit in the third quarter, having turned the ball over themselves 3 times.
Here's how we created our pet steps app for class project. First, the brush. Now the lasso for tweaking. Perfect. Ready for color. Then you drag it into our design and done.
The all-new ESPN app, your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments. It's the ultimate fan experience with no annual contract required. Head to the ESPN app or stream.espn.com and sign up now.
All right, there we go.
As the green confetti fell in Mercedes-Benz Stadium that Sunday night in February, many people's thoughts were already turning to next season, with the rest of the league wondering how exactly to beat this team, which had lost just 1 game in the last 19 weeks. And well, that's the bad news for the other 31 teams that are just in the NFL, is because, well, the Eagles aren't going anywhere. If anything, they might have gotten better. As we've said before, this offense is almost unchanged going into 2025, with star playmakers Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and of course Saquon Barkley all signed on to run it back this season. In fact, the only real loss to this offense in the offseason had been right guard Mekhi Becton, who departed to the Chargers in free agency, as the Eagles couldn't quite afford to pay everyone. But I mean, in all honesty, they have gotten pretty close, and as we said earlier, despite the loss of Becton, this is still right up there as the best offensive line in football. And in a fairly low-key free agency in Philly, they added 2 tackles in Kendall Lamb and Matt Pryor from the Dolphins and Bears respectively to add further depth to this impressive unit. Beyond these 2 though, the Eagles also traded for Texans guard Kenyon Green, as well as drafting 3 O-linemen in rounds 5 and 6 in Drew Kendall, Miles Hinton, and Cameron Williams. If any of these 3 guys are half as good as previously 7th round draft pick Jordan Mailata, Howie Roseman will be delighted with yet another draft steal. Other additions on offense included 2 new tight ends in Harrison Bryant and Kylan Granson, who may stand to feature more in the longer term if Dallas Goedert does walk at the end of this year. Goedert did manage to renegotiate his deal for 2025, and he remains in Philly on a $10 million deal before becoming a free agent at this year's conclusion. Adding 2 tight ends might be a sign they're planning for early life without Goedert going forward. Truthfully, the only concern for this team on offense this year is the departure of offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who has left to become the head coach of the New Orleans Saints and taken several members of the coaching staff with him to the Bayou. Moore is undoubtedly an impressive coaching mind, having presided over the #1 offense in football twice in 3 years while the offensive coordinator in Dallas, but the Eagles should still be fine without him in 2025. His replacement, Kevin Patullo, has worked for the organization since Sirianni was appointed in 2021 and has held the title of pass game coordinator and associate head coach for the last 2 seasons. After Moore's departure, he was promoted to offensive coordinator and is well placed as anyone to keep this offense rolling, as no one knows what makes this offense tick quite like he does. On defense, the biggest move was tying down Zach Bond for another 3 years though. Following his stellar All-Pro campaign last time out, he wasn't anywhere near as cheap this offseason, but the Eagles really had to secure his services again, and they managed to do just that at $51 million for 3 years. And of course, the Eagles
I've been telling my mans this for the longest. The Eagles been right there for the longest. All we needed was a better secondary, a better D-line, and some better linebacker play. And honestly, the D-line came and went, so my main thing was linebacker play and CBs. The CB secondary came and went, but the linebackers, very inconsistent. Very inconsistent.
Have a huge amount of salary cap to play with on defense, but they still did manage to make a few under the radar signings who might end up being this year's Zach Bond. One of those is Azeez Ojulari, a linebacker who spent the last 5 seasons as a New York Giant. Despite missing over 20 games with injury, he still managed to pick up 22 sacks over those 4 years, including 8 in his rookie year in 2021, which set a franchise rookie record. Ojulari might not quite haunt the Giants as much as the guy they let walk to the Eagles last offseason, him, but he seems like a solid option to this defense.
I think he
as
might
does
do
former
work.
Patriot-in-Chief Joshua Uche, who had a career-best 11.5 sacks as recently as 2022. In a Vic Fangio system, it's possible that either of these guys could get back to their best in Eagles green. As for the draft, though, the Eagles did use their first 5 picks on the defensive side of the ball. The first of those being used on Alabama linebacker Jiad Campbell. Campbell was named first team All-SEC last year, and as a result of his dominance at the collegiate level, many expected him to go in the middle of the first round. However, by the time the Eagles were on the clock at pick 31, Campbell was somehow still available, and Howie Roseman was all too happy to bring him to Philly. Campbell has exceptional speed for being a linebacker and has plenty of upside, having just turned 21 in February. Picking up a player as explosive and as exciting as Campbell at the end of the first round will no doubt have excited the Eagles faithful, adding more raw talent to an already stacked defense. Beyond Campbell, the Eagles drafted Andrew Makuba, a safety out of Texas who was also named All-SEC last year, recording 5 interceptions and 4 tackles for loss to help the Longhorns to the college football playoff semifinals. With CJ Gardner-Johnson departing yet again, it's possible that Makuba...
He is doing his job, because I kind of forgot about the other linebacker signings, because I know, what's his name, Jihad, he's going to be out for a minute. Hopefully he's back week 1, week 2, week 3, the latest. But even then, they're not just going to throw him in there. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, but JC, Jordan Davis, like, even Quinyon and Coop didn't start at the beginning of the season. Like, we work our rookies in. You got to make plays. You got to show and make a name for yourself. Like, you got to show what you could do before we just hand you the keys. But that should be very interesting. Very interesting. And then, like I said before, we got Dean. He's supposed to be coming back, so we don't know when that's supposed to, what that's supposed to look like. I don't know, but it's dangerous. It's a good problem to have.
Could be called upon to play a big role this year. Overall, though, I mean, even looking at this roster now, it's pretty clear to see that this roster doesn't have many holes on it, if anywhere, truthfully. Like, they have the best receiving duo in football, the best running back in football, and the best offensive line in football, and a quarterback who's proven himself to turn up in the biggest moments. And yes, Jalen Hurts has endured plenty of criticism in his time, but his performances in the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl should have silenced even the harshest of critics. This is a man and a team that have proved that they will show up on the biggest stage, and that this team is now the team to beat in the NFC. While the Commanders had an extremely impressive campaign last year, they still lag significantly behind the Eagles in the NFC East, as was shown in the championship game at Lincoln Financial Field. And well, as for the Cowboys and Giants, I just don't really think they even come close.
High key might be another, I don't know if I said this, hot take. Giants finna be better than the Commanders this year. I said it. Giants finna be better than the Commanders this year, and Dallas is finna be nice again. But is Micah gonna play though? Because if that's the case, if Micah's, that might change my prediction. But if Dallas comes to play and the talent on the roster performs, it's Philly, Dallas, New York. But New York not far behind Dallas, and Dallas not far behind us. I think for the Eagles, more times than not, it's good to get some of those losses in the regular season, because you got to learn from something. You got to know when things go wrong. All right, this is why it went wrong. This is what we got to do. This is what we got to bounce back. Don't think that we're invincible, because sometimes I think the Eagles get a little too comfortable. They be playing with some leads and stuff, and it kind of, I don't like that. But yeah, we about business, and look like the video about over with. Let me just make sure I don't miss something at the end.
And this Eagles team is at its very best. They are a genuine juggernaut, and they look borderline unstoppable for so much of the second half of last season. Right now, they are the team to beat in the NFL, and the path to the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia. So when Super Bowl 60 kicks off in Santa Clara next February, expect to see Nick Sirianni and his team coming out of the tunnel, aiming to reach the peak.
Alright, we're good. Hey, don't sleep on this man, P. Mahomes, though. Like, I don't know how y'all be so quick to forget. I know it's what have you done for me lately kind of league, but y'all be so quick to forget. And this Anthony Richardson situation is insane. But if y'all want that video, I'll definitely react to it. But all that aside, man, Eagles, I'll be back. I'll be back in Philly, turning up when we win again. Should be a very interesting season. Should be a fun season. Lamar, is you gonna get it done anytime soon? Joe Shiesty, is you gonna get it done anytime soon? Josh Smith, is you gonna get it done anytime soon? I don't know. Maybe that's who knows. But all that aside, that's gonna end up this reaction video. I'm not gonna take the like, comment, share, or subscribe. I said Josh. Did I say Josh Smith or did I say Josh Allen? I might have said Josh Smith, but if I said Josh Smith, I meant Josh Allen. But anyway, that's gonna end up this reaction video. I'm not gonna say the like, comment, share, or subscribe. If y'all rock me, y'all gonna do that anyway. And I'm going on.